Walt Disney changed the future of cinema forever, with animated movies that had action and adventures filmmakers could only dream of. Hand-drawn animation eventually gave way to characters and stories drawn and painted in computers, with the fantasy and effects getting even more ambitious. But no matter how many artists or writers may shape an animated film, some mistakes, errors, and unresolved questions always seem to make it through inspection. Here are ScreenRant's 10 Disney movie mistakes that slipped through editing. Finding Nemo. Pixar played it fast and loose with actual marine biology and their story of a lost clownfish and his father trying to track him down. But messing with the laws of physics is a step too far. When Nemo's fish tank friends make their escape into Sydney Harbor, they're still contained in their plastic bags. A closer look should have viewers realizing that the bags of salt water wouldn't float above the ocean's surface in perfect spheres, or at least much closer to it than the movie shows. Toy Story. Pixar's first feature film started with a bang, revealing a young boy's toys to not just be alive, but capable of devising complicated strategies in order to find out when a new toy would be joining their ranks. The first Toy Story opened with Sarge and his army men scouting Andy's birthday party, and reporting back to Woody and the other toys about his new gifts. Unfortunately, there was one major mix-up. The baby monitor the squad uses is the handheld half, which acts only as a speaker. The half of the monitor that includes an actual microphone is on Andy's bedside table, meaning the toys shouldn't have been able to hear anything. WALL-E. Apparently, leaving a robot in isolation for 7 centuries can create one heck of a personality. In the distant future of WALL-E, humanity has taken to space, leaving behind millions of WALL-E units to gather and compact the trash which covers the planet, in preparation for the day that life and humanity returns. There's only one problem. WALL-E doesn't actually compact trash. Even when completely filling his body with garbage, WALL-E can only produce a cube as big as himself, not a crushed smaller one. A trash reshaper may still be useful for cleanup, but the effort made to cut around the process proves Pixar didn't want audiences looking too closely. Beauty and the Beast. Even if the curse that turned Prince Adam into Disney's Beast is a bit harsh, audiences have it spelled out perfectly. After turning away an enchantress in need of shelter almost a decade before the film, the prince was cursed and turned into a beast. If he can't find someone who loves him for who he is, not how he looks, by the time he turns 21, he becomes the beast forever. Since the passing of time means the prince was 10 or 11 when cursed, the portrait he slashes showing him as a grown man can't exist. It's one of Disney's most well-known errors, but luckily it doesn't take away anything from the rest of the story. Monsters, Inc. When the city of Monstropolis relies on children's screams for power, a little girl who finds monsters more funny than fearsome turns out to be a blessing in disguise. Mike and Sully have a hard time keeping track of the girl named Boo, but they realize her laughter isn't just more powerful than screams, it's strong enough to cause massive power outages. Since Boo has spent most of her time in the movie giggling, why don't all her laughs have that same effect? The filmmakers admitted the inconsistency, explaining that it posed too many challenges if they followed the rule from beginning to end, and were forced to ignore it. A Bug's Life. In the world of A Bug's Life, a single bird is a terrifying monster. The movie's hero Flick decides to use that fact to his advantage, building a mechanical bird to scare off a threat to his anthill. The plan starts with an ingenious way of creating a blueprint. Cut the bird out of a leaf and lift it to the desired size. Unfortunately, that's not how shadows work. If the light source was a nearby lamp, then moving the leaf a few feet would matter. But even in a world where bugs can talk, the sun is still 93 million miles from Earth. Frozen. When a magical ice sorceress is one of your story's main characters, it's safe to expect some far-fetched twists. But one flaw in Disney's Frozen is too glaring for even fans to overlook. When Anna and Hans share their first song together, a lighthouse adds an even more romantic twist, lighting up the pair's silhouettes on the sail of a nearby ship. What's impossible to miss is the feet of their shadows somehow hovering in midair, instead of on top of the walkway they're standing on. The dreamlike dance fits the fantasy story, but including such an eye-catching error is an odd choice. Wreck-It Ralph. Video game fans know that a good shooter can make hours fly by like minutes. But in Wreck-It Ralph, that idea was pushed a bit too far. When Ralph decides to jump games and suit up for the futuristic shooter hero's duty, he gets thrown into combat as soon as the arcade opens for business. When he single-handedly delivers a game over for the player, Ralph climbs the game's tower to claim his gold medal. Before the soldiers have time to reset for the next round, they're informed that the arcade has closed.
Attention, the arcade is now closed.
It's possible the movie is set in the shortest business day in history, but we think that some flawed pacing is to blame. The Incredibles. Pixar's tale of retired superheroes makes it clear that the events of the movie are set in an alternate version of the 1960s, with the golden age of heroes having ended many years before. Mr. Incredible didn't give up the job willingly, judging by the old newspaper clippings he keeps in his office, highlighting his past adventures, and apparently one from the future. When Bob considers returning to his former career, one of the yellowed front pages shows a date of September 16th, 2002, a day roughly 40 years ahead of the movie's timeline. Tarzan. There's no point in calling out the impossible story beats of Tarzan, since talking animals and humans who can move and fight like an ape are obviously fantasy, but it's the English explorers who offer the biggest error in the movie. When Tarzan and his family are discovered by Jane and her father, they believe he is so important that Queen Victoria, Charles Darwin, and even author Rudyard Kipling will want to meet him.
Everyone's going to want to meet you.
Darwin and Kipling, Queen Victoria!
It's true that a leading mind on evolution and the author of The Jungle Book would want to meet Tarzan, but when Darwin died in 1882, Kipling was only a 17-year-old boy writing for newspapers in India, a decade away from publishing his famous book. So what do you think of our list? Did we miss any of your favorite errors or mistakes in Disney films? Let us know in our comment section, and don't forget to subscribe to our channel for more videos like this one.